Is it easy to keep talent here in Sri Lanka?
To be honest, most of them are failures.
And you're completely open with your finances? The government simply cannot control it.
It's a nice story.
What are the average salaries?
That's a huge challenge at the moment.
So today I am in Colombo, Sri Lanka, with Imal of Treinetic in his office. And Imal, can you tell me a bit about your background, how you started?
Okay. So I'm a graduate from University of Marudu, and then I'm more into technology before starting the company. So after that, I just got interested in having my own company. Then only I started the company. So do you want me to go through on how the journey, or how
you can tell me at what age you started programming, for instance.
Okay. So when I'm starting programming, it was around 2019 probably. So it's when I started programming, it's even before I'm joining for the university. It was just out of curiosity. I started learning about the technology, and in the normal circumstances in Sri Lanka, you have the government universities specializing in technology. So I just attended to university around 2011. But at the same time, even in the university time, I was doing projects with projects and all by myself. Those are for not foreign companies, but for all local companies, even very small products, right? And then even during that university period, I was really fascinated about the things that I learned, and I was very much interested on hands-on technology. I was by the time I'm ending university, I have fully completed all the examinations at that time. But the thing was that I felt that myself is a programmer. But when I went for the internship to a particular, it's very known company in Sri Lanka, and it was a fantastic company. Not to say a bad thing about that, it's a fantastic company, fantastic set of employees and everyone. But the thing what I felt was that when I go there, since I'm an intern, my ideas and opinions not that much of taken. But that I can understand, because it's a client project, and I'm an intern. I don't have much control over that. But then I felt that, okay, what I want is not much of programming. What I want to build things the way that I want it to build. So that's the starting point of the company, right? But there's no meaning that I was a very young person at that time, 25 around that time. I'm 25, I was just thinking, okay, I'll start a company so that I'll be able to build my own products. Then I started, but then eventually I started to understand building a company is not that easy as I think. Now I need to think of the cash flows, and the cash flows are not there, and I cannot hire people because there are no cash flows. I cannot build products by myself. And then started to understand, okay, I need to do something else. So started working on many client projects, and while we did our own products as well, to be honest, most of them are failures, and we are in the same route, like the product development as well as the services company. Idea is to fully move back to a product development company in the future, but we are still in the route of services company. Mm-hmm. So because of that thought, I started the Treinetic company in 2014.
And yesterday some local guys told me that in Sri Lanka, because of the culture, it's not very common to aspire for more money or to build business or something. What can you tell me about it?
It's like this. It's also when we are graduating also, it's around 25, right? And the same time, it's not our culture, and the economy is not very much strong. We are not from very economically strong family background. So whenever we move out from the universities, we are a bit of pushed to now take the weight of the family, and you just have to generate some revenue back, right? So because of that pressure, I feel like most of the youngsters and all will always try to go for a job initially. So that was the main reason.
Because it's stable? Because it's more stable than entrepreneurship?
Stable. At the same time, they are starting to generate some sort of revenue back to themselves, so that they can support the family. So that is the main reason, I guess, because I know there are some startups that started with me, ended up finishing because they could not run the company to a level that company is profitable enough, and they could not find investors to invest on the company as well. So that's the reason. I'm not saying that people are less entrepreneurial. Very good entrepreneurial people are there, but the culture and the age also, 25 years when you're outing, it's kind of like a bit late, right?
Many people start when in their 20s, and it's still not late, I think, even to start in your 30s.
True, right? Yeah. So that point is there, but I think that's the main reason. The culture and all is the reason that people are not starting companies.
How would you describe the business model of your company?
Yes. So our business model is very straight. It's a service-based company. So what we have 3 ways of providing services for our customers. It's time and material, dedicated team, fixed pricing. We cater to three of these models. So that's we do customized software development. We focus mostly the MVPs because that is the easiest point that we could start, and then eventually when the company grows, we also grow with them. So that's.
And what do you do when you need to develop, let's say, to add some features to an MVP?
Yeah.
Do you work this way, or do you throw out the MVP and start building
So
the first version?
We will always try to say that, okay, we are building the MVP, so we need to discuss with them like whether this is a throwaway MVP or do you want to build on top of this, and what is your budget? Are you you're capable of having a scalable product, or we just want to present it to the investors, get the funding, and then straight up based on their ideas. Only then we will decide that how we are going to proceed with the product.
And is there any specialization in the company? Areas of expertise or the technical stack or something?
Yeah. So the mobile development, we used to do native Android and native iOS. We are now moving, and we tried React Native as well. But after a year or two, when then Google launched Flutter, we fully moved back to Flutter. So we are now, and at the same time, we are now getting less requirement for native development. So we are now focusing on the Flutter as our main mobile development framework. And the other thing is the backend, we focus on Spring Boot and MongoDB as well as MySQL, and cloud will be always AWS for us. And backend, we sometimes use Laravel as well. Laravel and the Spring Boot are the main 2 frameworks that we are focusing.
So you specialize in a certain stack of technologies?
Yes, we are not doing everything. That is, we are telling that those are the only things that we are focusing.
All right. And talking of fixed quotes, how successful are you with this?
Now, we will always try to push the clients to the time and material because that is the profitable thing for us as well as them. But the thing is that what we understood are there are clients who are coming in, probably they are funding the product by themselves at that particular moment. So they want to get the MVP out as soon as possible. So what we are trying to do there is that, okay, we'll look at the scope as much as possible, right, from the very bird eye view, and then after that we'll be specifying a budget. Then after that, before starting the project, we'll be probably saying that, okay, we'll give you a business analyst, you have to work out all these requirements, and then we'll be refining the pricing based on that, and then we'll be going for the development. But sometimes we have seen that it's the calculated margins and everything is not there at the end of the project. But at the same time, what I have seen is that when we build such a product, it's an MVP level product. When you're providing a good service for the clients, I see most of the people are going and getting the funding and then coming back and saying that, okay guys, we are ready and we are now going to go for the other method, and that itself is profitable for us.
And how often does that happen? I mean, how often do people get funding after building an MVP?
Not very often. Like let's say 1 out of 10. Probably very rare.
That's the general startup statistics.
Yes.
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10 gets that. But I think when that happens, they become a long-term client for us. The product is becoming, some products are building from the initiation of the company, still building their product. Means like we are presenting it, we are launching into a company and, a particular area, and we are saying that, okay, now we are launching into this area, then the product need to be customized. So it's okay for us to have that burden at that point. That's what I understood there.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned products. What products do you have?
So we have, like I've seen that the Examiner product is educational platform. There is a music platform that we built. We are not promoting because there are a lot of legal things that we have to cover there. And at the same time, we are working on a fintech product as well right now. Not be able to give much information because it's not launched yet. So those are the products that we have worked during this time.
And this educational product, how successful is it?
It's like this. So it's probably right now having over 200,000 downloads probably in the application, and it's having daily users of 600 and 700 probably the daily users. But the thing is, for me, the challenge here is that we are at the same time we are providing the services as well as building our products is kind of a tough
That's
task.
very difficult to
very
combine.
difficult.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying, because now with the COVID and all, we are getting a lot of demand. So what I'm trying to do is that, okay, we'll finish off, we set up everything on the service side, and we have a free mind as well as set of people to focus on the product line. So products are like free flowing. I mean, the examiner products, the financial model, like there was a subscription based model. It's now it's broken. So because of that, we are not even charging the applications free for the people to use. So it's kind of like we don't have time to put there. I mean, it's definitely the part that we want to go, but the short term, I want to focus on the service.
And have you ever got any investments into your business?
No, the investments we haven't got investments. It's a fully bootstrapped company. So from the very small amount I invested and the clients that I built, all the trust and everything that we built around helped us to grow up to this level.
And how many owners do you have in the company?
There's 2 owners, me and one of my friends. So we started this, and those are the only owners that we have.
And did you start hiring people immediately?
When we started?
Yes.
So when we started, we got one person. It's a nice story. So when we started, we were not having money to even get our first employee. So it's just that we bootstrapped this. We felt that, okay, we could be able to do it. But then we started, okay, we are getting some small projects, and now we need someone to do those projects. And we were able to get someone as an intern. And he was like the quality was not there. I mean, he was still learning. So what happened ending up is that I had to work with him for long late nights, and most of the time he's doing the code, I'm reviewing it, and most of the time I'm rewriting it again. So that's what happened for me.
That's the cost of having junior developers in a project.
Yeah. So
we also tried a long time ago. We tried to go this path, but then we realized that it's cheaper to find seniors, to hire seniors and let them do the job, because otherwise it's just a lot of mess.
Big problem.
And waste of time and money.
Yeah, but at that time there was only no option for me other than like getting people and training them to a level that I'm expecting. So I mean, that was up to some level success, because there are people who joined with me as an interns now who are doing a lot of senior work at the company, and I'm really relaxed because of they are taking all the technical matters. So
and this after how many years?
This is
how long did it take them to become seniors out of interns?
By 2008, we started for 14, 15, 16, 17. By 18, 4 years of a time, they were really good. They were really good in the sense that they are capable of leading a team, as well as they are capable of figuring out the technology by themselves. So it's not that I'm really giving inputs and I'm really now become very dumb at the moment. So, but they are figuring it out with them themselves.
And how do you structure your project team? What other roles do you have on the team besides developers?
So we have the project manager is there, and the QA will be definitely there, and probably the development people. So other than that, we have one business analyst person, but the business analyst would be mostly for the sales pipeline. He'll be writing all the proposals and all and getting that. But mostly the business project manager is the one who is like handling the entire project.
Hey, I'm Konst, and I run 2 IT service agencies in Ukraine. Yes, it's gonna be about Ukraine, but I'm not asking you to donate. I'm asking you to watch and reshare. As a founder, I have a crucial battle to win, the economic one. As long as my business stands, I can keep my teammates employed and create new livelihood opportunities for tech talents who lost their jobs because of the war. In turn, these teammates can provide for their families, support local sellers, barbers, artists, and make donations themselves. And that's how we keep our economy alive. You know, Our president, Volodymyr Zelensky, once said, "I need ammunition, not a ride." I firmly believe every tech entrepreneur can relate to that, because we also need work, not charity. Yes, we continue working. We continue helping businesses speed up and secure releases, improve software quality, and add killer features. Despite the war, from safe locations, feeling brave, resilient, and grateful for having such an opportunity. I'm not diminishing the value of non-profits, collecting donations and humanitarian aid. These are essential, but if you want to support Ukraine long-term, consider choosing a service provider or product from Ukraine. Because we have plenty. Grammarly, Ajax, GitLab. Do these names ring any bells? All of them have Ukrainian roots. Stand with Ukraine by working with Ukraine. Make sure to check the links in the description below, where I go into more details into the hashtags Stand with Ukraine initiative and share resources where you can find cool Ukrainian products, from tech gadgets and SaaS to fashion and wellness and home decor. Glory to Ukraine. But in the company, do you have like a dedicated HR staff or recruiting staff?
Yes. Recently, we hired a HR because up to 2020, we were the ones who are doing all the recruitments, and we came to a level where we need to hire really fast, and we are not capable of doing that without a dedicated person. So we have a dedicated HR, dedicated finance, and those management people they are joining right now. It's not fully completed, but we are now building that side as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. So speaking of recruiting, how easy is it to find talent here in Sri Lanka?
There was a time that it was very easy to find talent, because whenever we are getting people, they are okay. They are having the knowledge and all. But now I do not understand what is the reason. Not sure exactly the reason, but the people who are coming in, the expectations are really high. At the same time, some of the basic fundamental questions when we ask are not there. So it's up to a level that where we cannot even teach them that level, because we are expecting small things to be right. So it's really hard. It's really hard for us.
But at the university, do they learn like basic things like foundation of programming?
Yeah, I mean, they
maybe
learn
some mathematics.
Yeah, they learn it. But the thing is that when you come to an interview, probably with the practical test all, will probably have something very little different from what they learn. So it's probably write this from the array, find this much combination.
But speaking of hiring senior developers, is it easy to...
Senior developers is not a problem. So if you're recruiting for the fresh graduates for the first time, it's not it is the problem. But when you're hiring senior people, they have I mean, because they have done a lot of work. But do you have to
hunt them from other companies, or do they come to you? How does it work?
So we do both. So HR will be probably looking at the other profiles and sending offers to them, or at the same time we'll be publishing job advertisements as well. So we hire from the both ways. Mm-hmm. But sometimes as a company that is a growing company, we need recruitments immediately. So sometimes when we will try our best to get the people who are like 2 weeks of a notice time or something, senior people at the same time. That's a bit difficult for us.
And how do you compete for senior talent with the other companies?
That's a huge challenge at the moment, because now because the current economic situation, I'm not sure whether it is the same. Probably it's the same throughout the world. Because of the current economic situation, most of the high talent is migrating out of the country. So because of that, he has a huge vacuum.
Where are they going?
They're going to the other countries like Australia, New Zealand, all these other companies.
Is it easier for them to migrate there?
It's easier. It's easier, and the Singapore probably better rates there. So it's people and the bit of economic crisis at the moment. So they are trying to migrate and probably getting stable there. And because of that, it creates a huge vacuum on the top. Because of that, the people are moving out to the top situations. Because of that, even if you are trying to hire people, the expectations are really high sometimes. Because sometimes we'll have to say that, okay, we'll have to get it. There's no other way that we can't do it. So I mean, we can't get a junior person to a senior person, so we'll have to get that person, because eventually getting that person in the sense that he's bringing up a lot of experience into the company, and at the same time they will be able to manage another set of a team after some time of working with us. So that is helpful rather than getting a fresher into the picture. so that we try our best to we try our best to filter and get the correct pricing, because we are not a huge company. But sometimes we'll have to go beyond the expected amount that we are offering to pay them.
So there is a salary raise.
Huh?
There's a raise for salaries on the market.
Salary raise.
In Ukraine, we have the same situation.
Yes, it's a huge salary raise.
Where you can just switch jobs every 2 months and get like $500 extra.
Similar thing is happening at the moment as well.
You see, this is the situation in the whole world, I think, with the
I
engineers.
think it's the same, right?
Yeah. By the way, this is a conversation, so you can ask me questions as well.
Sure. So how is your recruitment process happens?
I have 3 recruiters, full-time on staff, and 1 HR. So what we do, we have a platform in Ukraine called Genie. That's very popular among IT companies, and people post their CVs there anonymously, and then if you want to talk to them, they have to accept. And this is a platform for recruiters, and we are getting some hires from there. We're also working a lot on our HR brand. I mean, it's probably not working that great for senior talent, but if it's like middle kind of level of seniority, then it works. We are getting some incoming resumes. And so we also have a screening process in place to make sure that the person has both hard and soft skills to fit into our team.
So do you keep a set of people, not allocated, because there are some, when the project inquiries are coming in, you have a set of people not allocated. How do you manage that?
Well, first of all, we expect our leads and our prospective customers, right, to understand that the resources they need may not be available immediately. And if they want to start the project with us, there is a certain lead time before we are able to assemble a team for them. And so, meanwhile, we can work on requirements and things like that. So there is a certain onboarding and starting procedure. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, if we have someone on the bench, we can put them on a project immediately, but most of the time it's not the case.
Okay, so you're focusing only on the time and material, or do you have
Yes,
any
we
other?
only work time and materials, because we dropped fixed quotes about 10 years ago.
Really?
Because there was always scope creep, there was always a conflict, there was always a lot of stress. And I said, if we don't get that project, it's okay. Let someone else get them. There are hungrier companies, hungrier people who could use these customers. We cannot. So we cannot afford to have them because it's too expensive.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Even with all the overheads, if you add 20% on top, if you double the estimate, still something happens, and sometimes it's even not under your control. What happens? Let's say a new browser version is out, a new device is out, a new operating system, or the set of devices or browsers it has to work on. Of course, you can you can fix that in the specification, but still there are many variables in every project. So nowadays, what we try to do, we try to give rough estimates. We are saying that you need a team of 5 developers who will work on this for 5 months. And you can multiply the hourly rate by 160, by 5, and by 5. And that's your price, rough. Because depending on what happens along the way, it can be revised. Because it's software development, no one comes here with little money or with...
True.
And also, people have to realize that, and I wrote this in my Forbes Council article recently, that you have to cope with the fact that software development never ends. So you cannot write it once and enjoy it for the rest of your life. You cannot be capitalizing on a piece of software for your whole life. So the longest it can live without any maintenance is maybe half a year. Because after that, the new operating system is out, there's an update to a third-party library or framework you're using. There are maybe some security problems found with some components of your software, because there are so many dependencies nowadays that you cannot just leave it alone. You always have to have some budget for ongoing maintenance and development, because also your competition doesn't stand still, and you have to keep up with them. So it's always an ongoing investment.
Okay.
And speaking of talents, what are the average salaries here in Sri Lanka?
Average salaries right now, like if you start software engineer, probably 120,000.
How much is it in dollars?
Probably 600 starting. This is a fresh people, right? So 600, 700 probably around. This is a starting engineer salary, but it has now raised. Definitely in the coming weeks and months, it will increase.
And it's senior salary is how much?
Senior probably around 1,800, 2,000 probably. That will up to based on their experience and the time. Yeah.
And speaking of talent, is it easy to keep talent here in Sri Lanka? Let's say once they start working with you, what's the average time span of an employee in a company?
So I'm not sure. So normally what I heard is that it's hard to retain people. But here with me, I mean, there are people that stayed with me for around probably from the beginning of the company.
And that's how many years?
It's probably 2014 to 22, it's 8 years, right? Almost
8 years.
8 years.
And how many?
Huh?
How many people?
How many means like 10, 12 people probably from the very beginning.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
How many times did you revise their salaries?
The salaries probably at the early stage we are a very small company, so the salaries are very small. I'm not comparing to the others, but the thing is that because we had some kind of a bond between the team and we were doing something new, and always we are trying to build some products, and it's kind of like because of the bond between us and the things that we do together. I think that's the reason that they were staying. It's not because of the salary, I guess. But
you understand that regardless of the bond, if you are offered like, I don't know, 5 times more somewhere else, you quit.
Yeah.
Because or if you are underpaid compared to the market average.
Yeah. But at the same time, we'll try our best to make sure that at the end of the year, if we got a good profit out of them, we'll try to divide it out of the people at the same time. But a very, very good chunk of amount for the people as well. So,
and you are completely open with your finances inside the team?
Not at the moment, but I'm starting to understand that probably in the coming months and all, we'll have to get the senior people to a level where that, okay, they will see the finances and everything, because unless I will have to interfere all of the day-to-day activity, which I don't want to do, because in the sense like right now, for the sales and everything, like I'm the one who sit with the clients. I'm the one who's like deciding, okay, this would be the rates and all. Okay, I'll be getting the estimation from the development people, and then I'll be okay, this is the rate that we are coming. We have the standard rates, so we'll multiply it. Okay, this would be the. But the thing is that then I'll be allocated for all of this, which I don't want to do. So I would happy my senior teams will take over that, and they will understand the rates and all. That's fine. That I wanted to be at least to the senior people. I wanted to be.
Well, one thing is to make the rates public, or at least known to your team, and another one is having them know about your profits.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to make your profits open to the team?
Profits. I might not probably. So in here, this year we are.
Because otherwise, let's say by the end of the year, if you are distributing bonuses, like they don't know what's the base of it, like how much the company earned. Mm-hmm. I thought that you had like some kind of transparency and meritocracy there. You know?
Not like that. So, I mean, right now it's not like that.
You just decide that this guy deserves this much money in the end of the year.
How that has happened up to now. But probably in the future, based on the performance, because that was previously evaluating by myself and the directors, because we were very close. We are a small team of people, and we know each and other very clearly. But the thing is that it's good to have some sort of a evaluating system as well as the awareness of what they are getting raised and what based on that. But that's something that we are working out right now this year.
Because yesterday I spoke with some guys who are giving shares in the company to their employees if they stay for long enough, and then you can get, let's say, I don't know, half a percent of the company, and you are getting like 0.5% of all the profits every year.
0.5% in the sense of 50% of the company, or the
0.05%,
0.5%, right?
0.05, 0.5%.
0.5%. Okay. Yeah, that would be also. I'm also considering into that as well, because to be honest, like these are the 2 years that we are growing and we are just starting to generate a good amount of revenue. Because the last years, like there was a years like on the 2020 we were fully lost. So it was the funding was there for us, because I was so from the beginning when the company started, since I'm bootstrapping my company and I know that they are a service-based company, I straight away told my director is that okay, there will be definitely a time where as a service company there may be a time where we don't have a single product in our pipeline, and I still want to keep my team at that time, right? Because I cannot hire people, because these are people like known me for a long time and they know what we are doing, what they are capable. New freshers will not understand that vision. That's what I felt. So we were building a small fund from 2014 up to 2020. So its fund was up to a good level. That when the 2020 when all our clients mostly our clients said that, okay, the situation is bad, we want to pause our projects, we want to resume after probably 1 or 2 months of the period. And at
I have an exactly opposite experience with 2020. Like there were a lot of businesses sitting on their budgets, and then they're like, all right, we have to go full online now. Release the budget.
But the initial stages, like at the early stage of 2020 March, is the time I think the US started to like probably get this situation really worse, right? At that time, I felt that it's a bit scared and they wanted to say, okay, this will go away probably 1 or 2 months of a later. That's what I felt. And at that time, most of our projects got paused. And this straight away I had to say that, okay, no problem, we'll be funding. I mean, you have to work on the existing projects. We'll be making sure that you are fully covered and you are always paid for the entire.
And this fund, for how many months can you go without payments from your customers?
I think we could go for 6 months of a period. At that time, it was 12 people, entire team. So for the entire team, we should be able to go for 6 months of a time without any any projects. So I mean, that's still I'm building that. I'm keeping it because that's definitely needed. It's okay because the company can also use that fund at any point.
And retaining a fund like that in Sri Lanka with the exchange rates and with the volatility of the national currency, like do you keep it in US dollars in a bank or
no? So
or in Sri Lankan rupees in a bank?
So at that time there was no much of a big deal still beginning of 2020 the interest rate was really good, around 12%. For a normal fixed deposit you get 12% of a return. So in rupees right? That is a really good return, right? But now it has gone down to 6 or 6 I think, because so at that time it's having it in a fixed deposit is more than enough for us. But now going forward we are looking at alternative ways of like investing so that we could return back to the company. So that we are looking into now because we
crypto.
What is your thought on crypto?
I'm using it.
Using it, yeah.
It's pretty good. It's just that you don't have to sell when everyone is selling, and you don't have to buy when everyone is buying.
True, but
there are also interest accounts in crypto. Like you can have an account in USDT, which is bound to the US dollar, and having 13.5% interest on
really?
that. Yeah.
Oh, that I was not.
And then you can immediately like take it out somewhere and get your money from an exchange, pretty much anywhere in the world.
But I was not fully into crypto. I was a bit into crypto, But at the same time, I was wondering, like I was looking at a lot of the situation here. Now the currency price is going down, and at the same time, the fixed deposit and all this normal monetary system is not giving enough return. So people are now moving to the other levels. Like people who are not aware of stock exchange is now moving to the CSE, right? There will be a time where the CSE is not enough giving you return, and then there will be probably moving. A lot of people will be moved back to crypto. That will create a huge boom in the crypto
I
space.
heard that some businesses are already using crypto in Sri Lanka. Like you can pay some hotels in crypto.
That I'm not fully aware. But right now, the
Rumors.
government is not encouraging crypto in Sri Lanka. So I'm not sure how that is happening.
It's not up to the government. It's a global phenomenon.
Global.
So it's governments simply cannot control it, or if they can, their control is very limited.
True.
So tell me how you achieve quality in your work.
Okay. Quality, you mean the technology? Or?
Both technological and functional. Well, functional is easy. If you have QA people on the team, then you can easily have the outcome, the software tested. But how about code quality? That it complies with the good practices, standards,
yes,
design patterns, stuff like
true.
that.
So from the beginning of the company, it's like I was very strict on the coding practices. Like when the time that I was coding, like my team was like never get the chance. Like let's say if there's a mistake, you have to rewrite that code. So it's kind of like, I mean, we were not looking at the budget. Okay, we are not looking at the budget and say, okay, we don't have time. If you do that, like if we are going out of budget and it's not profitable, not like that. At that time, there was a time, okay, if the good code is bad, you have to rewrite it and you have to get it approved, and that's how. So there was a time that I was always pushing to, like, if you learn something, you get to do a presentation here at the company. You have, even my Instagram has all photos, like some people are writing on the whiteboard, so that if you learn something that is new, if you structure in the proper services or the repositories, what is the pattern that you learned which is new, I don't know, you have to learn, teach it to me, right? So that we'll start learning about these patterns and all. Now the team has built up to a level that the senior people have worked with us, I mean, together for some time. So they will be reviewing the code of the other people. So it's like, it's always it's always like you're not going to get approved if the code is really bad. So it's always a review process will be there. So there will be senior person, there's junior, or the other people who are not that experienced will be writing the code, and at the same time the senior person will be writing, and he's the person who is going to make sure, he's the gatekeeper, he's going to make sure that the code is going to be merged or not.
Is that one person per project, like a tech lead, or one person for the entire company?
No, one person for a project. So there will be definitely one person who is responsible. At the same time, there will be a senior person to the company, as well as he has the ability to, like, take a call with the entire team and just randomly go through what you are doing right now, just show you what you are doing right now, the kind of thing. So right now, some of the things like mobile application deployment, so function, the productivity side. So there was I mean, I think most of the companies are like, what you are doing is that if you are writing a mobile application, like it's a test flight is already there, but if it is Android application, I see a lot of Sri Lankan companies also, you build the application and you get the APK, you put it on the Google Drive and send it to the QA team. So that's how the testing happens, right? So which was like, I mean, there was a situation where that, okay, QA has got the APK, which was not old version, and the developers thinking that, okay, I have built and this guy is testing. Now that guy has testing an old version of the app. So I straight away that there should need to be a process. So we moved back to the Firebase. There's a Firebase tool, like you can it's automatically, when you merge the branch, it will automatically build in the code APK and
continuous
integration back to the QAs, and they will be getting a notification. Now the APK is there for you to install and test. So that process-wise improvements we are doing each and every day, because we cannot cost, because we cannot afford to do mistakes like that, because we are not a big company, so we don't have much margins.
All right. And what's your favorite project so far?
So far, we are doing a very interesting project, and it's called Involved, US-based company. It's a Christian community social network. It was a very interesting project. So it's fully, I'm not, my religion is different, but I do really like the application that has chat applications, chat social, the news feed and everything. So our guys are building it, and it was a really interesting project.
Christian social app. That sounds fun. Sounds fun. Are there Bible quotes and stuff like that?
So it's, I'm not much into the details, but it has the same functionality as the normal, social networks.
All right. And what's your least favorite project or type of work?
Least, can't remember of a product like that. I mean, there were failures, but I don't call them like least favorite, because we worked as a very happily on that product, though it failed.
All right. And your biggest epic failure?
Okay, there's a wonderful product. So we worked with a Swedish-based company. At that time, we were starting with the an iOS native application development, right? Our team was good. They were, I mean, when I'm asking, they're good in the sense that they were learning it really fast. They're doing what they're expecting. But the problem is that they have done a fundamental mistake, so that whenever we are sending the application for them to test, it's not working, right? So it happened like that was a huge project. And I was really regret that because at that time I was not into the mobile development. I was mostly on the full stack and the backend development things. So that was a catastrophe, and that was we tried our best, but the thing is that it was actually the lack of knowledge at that time, around 2015, 16, starting the early stage of the company. So that was a huge failure for us.
So it didn't work for the customer because some things were bound to your local environments, or?
True, that's the same. I don't want to elaborate more, but that was the case.
Sounds like a very junior developer mistake.
Yes.
All right. And in IT service business, what's considered a good margin in Sri Lanka?
I would say 40%. 40% probably would consider. I mean, I'm talking about the foreign businesses. I would consider 40% would be a good.
40% is a kick-ass margin, man. I mean, you have to optimize many things to make it happen.
True. We might not get that, but we try our best to keep that margin as soon as possible. I mean, as much as possible.
And what's your best result in percents?
We reached 40%, not far beyond that. We have reached
every year.
Not every year, not every project. I'm trying is that audience is there. It's the best margin that we want to try. We have reached that, but it varies. Like it go beyond, because once the project is finishing, we might not reach to that level.
Because in Ukraine, like many average outsourcing companies, they have under 20. And our goal is also 40, but last year I think we had 27.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Which is still good, but you have to set a goal. And now I have a financial analyst who I'm asking questions and trying to optimize my stuff according to his recommendations and also from his input.
So that's the one thing that we implemented this year is that now previously we used to, because it's 15-20 team now, so all the expenditures are happening, like I'm asking like, okay, I said that, okay, we need to buy this, okay, the finance are approved and we are getting that. The thing is that from this year I said that, okay, here's the budget, okay, which we did not do previously, and you say that, okay, you need to tell me that I can spend it or not. I am within the limits.
Can I afford it?
Can I afford it?
I want a MacBook. Can I afford it? I heard you cannot buy a MacBook here in Sri Lanka.
No, you can get a used MacBooks, but MacBook are very expensive here at the moment.
Unless someone brings it in their
Unless you
bag.
go to Dubai and probably bring it back to Sri Lanka. Yeah.
But then it's like 400 more at least. And do you have any time tracking in place?
Yes.
What do you use?
We use, in the DevOps itself, we use Microsoft DevOps. there itself has a small plugin to install. So each task we track time. So that is based on the project itself, because we go for time and material, as there are dedicated teams as well. So based on that, they will do that. At the end of the day, finances will be calculated based on that time. So how do you do that?
We just log time in Jira.
Jira, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't have any plugins or any agent apps on our computers. We just log the time in Jira. We try to do it on a daily basis. Some people need to be reminded, but in general it's working well, because by the end of the month we close it all and you cannot alter it anymore.
So for the developers, they are keeping it noted separately and updating it.
You can log it right in your tickets.
Yes.
I think there is a Jira plugin for that, Tempo. Or is it out of the box? I don't remember.
So they do it at the end of the day, or at the same time when they're working on
They can do it during the day, they can do it at the end of the day. Like it's flexible whenever you feel like. It's important not to log it like after a week, because you forget what you did a week ago.
Yeah. How accurate is that? Also, the main problem that are coming into me is that, okay, so we are having multiple meetings each day. So sometimes the task is, for a meeting, probably you might not have a task. So the team is asking for a meeting. And so we are saying that, so since it is always the working hours, we'll be calculating the time for that as well, for the meetings and everything. So sometimes what happens is that they forget to log the time for the meetings. So they're always saying that, okay, I forget about logging the time for the meeting.
You can have a separate ticket for meetings, and it can be placeholder for them to log the time, for example. But we log all the work hours.
Okay.
Regardless if it's client work or internal stuff, because we also need to know and keep track of what's going on internally. Because otherwise, if you are doing some internal stuff like for for half a year, it may not be okay. Maybe it has to be broken down into smaller stuff.
Okay, so you're saying that apart from the client work, you're logging the entire work of the company as well, each person?
Yes.
Okay, so that we don't do.
Except for personal time, obviously.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. We don't do that. I mean, we need to look into it.
But then you get a full report on a person or on a team or on the company. Like what kind of tasks take most of the time.
That would be used to evaluate the performance at the end of the year, probably. Okay.
So time tracking is a fun part. Then, where are your customers from mostly?
Customers mostly from US and Sweden and Australia.
No local customers?
Local customers, there's one product that we did for a publication company, and we are now working on a tourist company. So it's a publication company, it's 100 years old, very old company. So we did similar product like Kindle for them. So yeah, mostly from Colombo.
All right, and so US customers are how many percent in your portfolio?
It's almost 80% of
80%.
Most of them are US based customers, because sometimes we find, Sweden clients are really good, but the problem is that we always find communication issues and problems. I mean, it's a bit complicated for us to work with them, but we have not selectively done that, but mostly our customers are from US.
And how do you get those customers?
Customers, like we right now have the sales system in place. So there's a dedicated team out of Sri Lanka who is doing all the prospecting and doing the email marketing and everything. And once the email comes back to us, we'll be replying for them. And then we are trying to set up a meeting. That was set up only this year. Before all these years, it was always word of mouth. It's just that the one client we did that has recommended us for another. That's how we got
word of mouth is the best way to get new clients, but it's not scalable.
True.
And then if you want to be like in control of the amount of leads that are coming your way, it's better to have like marketing in place. And
true. How do you have in-house team of marketing?
Yes, we have an in-house team. We have 2 salespeople, and then we also have a bunch of people working in our marketing, like 2 marketing generalists, 3 SEO guys, 2 copywriters, and 2 social media people.
Okay, so you probably...
So it's an army.
Yeah, it's a large army, right?
Yeah.
So you probably go for the outbound emailing campaigns, lead
Not really.
generation?
We are focusing on passive sales. So it's when you optimize your website, for instance, and people find you, because there are many people on the other ends of the things, and they are actively looking for a software development vendor.
True.
At all times. So,
yeah,
and it's important to be visible for them when to them when they do that.
Okay, so we are also doing that. I mean, we are not success at the moment yet, but we are also like optimizing the website, and the constant articles are being writing about the technology and about the
content marketing is very important.
Yeah,
this is what I found.
And how to build a startup, how to scale it. Probably the people who are searching will be end up here.
It's good to select subjects for your articles wisely based on your search engine optimization recommendations. So if you have an SEO guy, just don't write anything. First consult this guy and ask them which keywords I have to use. Like which keywords are you targeting, which keywords have the optimal volume for us. Because otherwise, if you target, let's say, software, it's a very expensive keyword. If you target, let's say, Flutter development Sri Lanka, it's a lower amount of search volume. And and then you can also come up with different services that may be openers for your main offering. This way, for instance, we came up with the code review. If you optimize your website or a page on your website for code review as a service, then there are businesses who need code reviews. Because let's say they're acquiring a code base, or they are making sure their team is doing a good job, and there are many users of code reviews. And on our website, we are offering them to download an example of a code review that we have done, or multiple code reviews. And we also want to add the pricing structure for that right on the website. But we are getting some leads because of that particular offering. And I'm always thinking about other services that may be added and promoted like this.
So you keep all the social networks and everything very active?
Yes.
Through. Okay.
Yes. I think it's important first of all, it's because of the competition on the job market, it's important to do HR brand, right? Promotion. And on the other hand, it's also important to be visible to the customers. Let's say if you have a solid connection base on LinkedIn, then you can be posting stuff visible to many people. And then the next time when they think software development, they will like, all right, I saw this guy post about it. Let me send him a message. So that's why it's about visibility.
True. These are some things that we did not fully focus, because we did not fully focus in the sense that we did not have the capacity to do that with the limited team of that. Now
it's an investment. Yes, you need to hire people for that, for both sales and marketing, and you have to do it on an ongoing basis. So search engine optimization that doesn't happen overnight. You invest into certain keywords for a few months, and then first you're getting first results.
Okay.
Of that. Are there any cultural differences that you experience working with the US or Swedish companies between Sri Lanka and those countries?
Culture, not the culture in the sense that it's the holidays, about the holidays, like US people are very much like, okay, you guys are taking holidays every day. So our calendar, if you look at the calendars, like every month you get 2 or 3 holidays. So
here in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, here in Sri Lanka.
You have so many holidays.
Yeah. So they were saying like, okay, you guys are taking too much holidays. So that's the only thing that we
But
found.
have you ever counted how many holidays you have here per year?
No, we haven't looked at
I would do that exercise. I would calculate how many there are per year and compare the figure with the US. And then you can draw some conclusions, because otherwise it can be just a perception of you taking too many holidays, because they may also have a bunch.
Yeah, but
And
they
then
have
how
at the
much
end,
it
right?
differs.
Yeah, I haven't looked at that.
Do it.
Yeah.
Because we had something like that in Ukraine. Like a friend of mine was, we have so many holidays. And I'm like, all right, let's calculate how many they have in the US and how many we have in Ukraine. Not much different, just different days. The amount is pretty much the same.
Same.
And I'm wondering, yeah, there should be some statistics already on the internet, like statistics per country. And so you can see like which countries have most holidays, like more holidays than the others, and which have the minimum.
Yeah, that's all that I found. Other than that, not much difference that I found. The communication and all that. Other than that, not much.
And let me give you an example of cultural differences between Asian developers and let's say the US or Europe. Many businesses work with India, right? And it's very it's a known fact about Indian developers that you ask them as a customer, you ask them if they can deliver to a certain deadline. They say yes. But then by the deadline, they deliver saying it wasn't realistic. Because in their culture, it's very hard to say no, especially to a customer or to a respected person.
Yeah.
And they need, like those who run these businesses out of India, they need to educate their managers at least to keep this into account, because this is important.
Now, the other thing is that...
How's Sri Lanka in this regard?
I think we are a bit ahead there, because I'm not sure. From our side, we'll be always like calculating it and saying, I'm asking my developers, can you guys do it? If you can do it, no issue, unless you tell me exactly whether you can do it or not. So if you guys say that okay, they will evaluate it and tell me that okay, this is possible or not. In that only we'll be letting client know that okay, this is possible.
But if at first you understood it's feasible, but then along the way you found some obstacles that don't let you to deliver to this deadline, what do you do?
Okay, so in such cases,
you promised to deliver, but then halfway, like no can.
That has happened very rarely for us, because sometimes when a project comes in, our guys are trying to look at all the most difficult parts of the project. Now, have we done this before? Okay, this is something that we need to research. Do we need to research? And there were some times that we have came across that, and probably we have it has very rarely happened to us. So probably we have told the client that okay, this has happened to us and this is the situation, this is not anticipated. Okay, we need probably another 2 to 3, but it's not the last day. Probably at the very middle of the project we'll understand, because initially you have a bit of a non-clear situation, but when you're going over the second 2 weeks of a project, and probably if there's a situation, we should definitely see it at that point. And probably we'll communicate at that point, okay, saying that, okay, there's something that we did not evaluate it.
And how often do you have people on the bench?
Yeah, so it's not always the bench. So what happens is that we have our own products, or the fintech product that we are developing. So what we usually have is that we have 3 people always working on that product. So they will be always continuously working on that.
But if there is a customer who needs developers immediately, will you move those product people to that project?
True. So, but that's how we are doing right now, because these guys are like with the product is complicated with the product that we are building. So if you are having at least one year of a time that you are working on that product, that you mean you're really good. So instead of like getting people, that's what I was asking, because now I'm in a situation where the customers are me asking for the resources, and I don't have resources at the moment, and I'm probably
my
saying
experience you have to explain, and you should be ready to say no to a customer. Yeah. So let's say if they say I need it tomorrow, you shouldn't try to please them as much as you can. You can just tell them the best I can do is in 2 weeks. Yeah. If they're not fine with that, then it's not the it's not the competitive advantage you want to have, right? Like if you don't want to compete for the smallest price, you don't want to compete on immediate availability.
Okay.
So if you have a good portfolio, if you have a good presentation, a good reputation, then people can wait and pay more.
True. So up to now we did that. So we'll continuously building our products. People will be working on those products, and whenever the customer request comes in, we'll be probably getting them up. If that is a requirement matches with our skills, and the guy is good, we'll be getting to that product, and eventually we'll be getting someone else to work during when they are working on that project. We'll be getting someone into that the other product that we were building.
Yeah, but
there's a limitation. Yeah.
Because if you are taking new people in for the product, they need to learn it from the beginning.
Yes, it takes time.
It's better to keep the same team.
Yeah, if possible, I'm really happy to do if that is possible.
And how long is typically a project lifespan, a customer project lifespan in your company?
It depends. Now, as I told you, there are products that we are building from 2014. Still, we are building. And they are live and they are generating revenue. At the same time, we are still providing the service. And there's a product that we started 2019. We are still building it, but there are fixed projects probably go around 8 months, 9 months. After that,
but then you have a disruption in your internal product for 8 months, right? If you move all of the product developers over to a new project. How easy is it to do business in Sri Lanka?
In Sri Lanka, it's a bit complicated. Out of Sri Lanka, it's not. It's really easy. In Sri Lanka, it's that you means like support for companies or startups. Now the infrastructure is building. Now the investors are now coming in, but there was no investments and everything at probably time that I started. Not much.
I'm more interested in doing business. Like, do you get a lot of bureaucracy? Are you getting any corruption, maybe cases or something in your work? Or is it straightforward and easy? You incorporate a company, you get employees, and you start working?
No. So I'm not pushing much into local businesses, acquiring local clients. But
it's not about working with local clients. It's about maintaining your team here.
No, it's not a big
providing service out of Sri Lanka.
No, it's not a problem at all. So for us, it's not any problem at all. So here, even in Sri Lanka, for us, it's tax free for all the foreign revenue that we are bringing into Sri Lanka. It's not taxable.
Well, there is one tax on it.
Huh?
The exchange rate difference, and that's 20%.
That is 20%. True.
And have you thought of incorporating outside of Sri Lanka and getting paid there?
Already done.
Where?
So already done. It's we are waiting for the bank account to be ready, and after that we'll be probably getting our US incorporation, US bank, and we are bringing in there.
So where are you incorporating?
In what you called not Delaware. It's the other thing is.
But in the US?
It's in US. In US.
That's difficult. You have to travel there.
No.
No?
There are services that you do that. So there's firstbase.io. They do that.
Which one?
Firstbase.io.
Firstbase.io.
They do that. And it's fully legal, and all the documents and everything happens there. Only thing is that to open a bank account, if you need a reputed bank in US, you need to travel there and do it by yourself. Unless they are giving a bank called Mercury, it's also fine.